And the second part of your question was...
Do you think ayahuasca can actually...
well, ayahuasca...
They said it's 1,000 therapy sessions in one.
I mean, it is high energy, high impact. I do not recommend it to anyone that's vacationing as a party drug, and I...
it's not a party drug.
But I would be very... But like DMT's become the westernized version of it, and that was even a way more powerful experience for me, was I got it injected into me. But my experience is it was transformative. You will see things that you didn't encounter. It will be a spiritual experience. So you've got to be very up for it, to the point where I don't know if I would do it again, just because of how it affected me in so many different levels.
For the better,
I would tell you this: take your top emotion, the best you've ever felt in your life, times it by 10, and then times it by 100 again, and suspend that in air for a while. Then take your top fear, times that by 10, times by 100, and suspend that in air. Those two I've experienced in the one trip. So you can say that
I know, me too.
That was with DMT, the more concentrated form. Ayahuasca was a bit more of a mild experience.
But
if you do it fully, that's in essence what you're getting out of ayahuasca is the DMT.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the other thing. I don't know if you knew this, but I think I've watched like 3 documentaries, so I can say something about it. Even though I've never done it, is that the shamans playing the music Icarus or whatever, they call it like a separate entity or something that is guiding you through the healing process. Was there music playing when you did ayahuasca? Did they do that?
Yeah, they did that.
But did you feel like that was actually...
It definitely does influence your trip because... But even when I'm doing DMT, I had this TV screen on and that became a living entity. So I think anything that you have in your environment will become part of your experience, so the music, whatever. But they talk about altering your third eye, which is the 6th chakra, the idea, and that's the thing which helps you dream. So it's like you're having a real live dream, but you're seeing all these beings that could actually be real in another portal. We just don't have the normal access because when we open the third eye, we get to see things that we've never seen before, right? So that's in essence what's happening. You're releasing the DMT from that the pineal gland, which is
what gets
very
released
close
when
to
you
the
die.
melatonin, the serotonin. The melatonin when you go to sleep. It's very connected to that hormone.
The spirit molecule, because I guess when you die, you secrete DMT. They say, I don't know.
So I got brought up with a Christian background, and I had some religious, very touching experiences with God growing up throughout my upbringing. So part of me was very hesitant doing ayahuasca because of my beliefs around, could be demons in there or that sort of thing. And so I had to be very mindful of that, what I was taking on. And so I don't know whether it's that you see those entities because you're predisposed to believe that what you're seeing is from your religious point of view, or you're actually seeing them. I'm yet to draw a conclusion of that.
But that is intense.
I do know it's probably beyond the scope of this podcast, but in another one, I go really into great detail of the implications of all of that, which gets more into belief and spirituality and things of that nature.
Which we're well versed in that too. Man, well,
I feel like we've just skimmed the surface.
I know.
The next things I want to ask you about our spirituality and your religious journey and your spiritual journey, because we have a huge part of that. Yeah, there's a patio light, I think, over there, but it's up to you. Like, I don't know. Do you want to?
Well, the video chat.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you have some more time.
Yeah. Well, what time do you have to go?
Well, I'm just texting him right now. I think I can.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's flexible because I feel like we have some good momentum going on.
Yeah.
And you never know, tomorrow's not guaranteed or promised.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And you're flying out too, so you mind if we
let's take
some
it
more
down.
time? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me check on the camera, check on the stats here, then I'm going to ask you about spirituality.
Yeah.
First, before I forget them, I do want to ask you about your social. I think that's important because that's how we even got here. I do want to ask you about spirituality and your religious journey, because we've had ours, and they were quite profound, our spiritual journeys.
For sure.
Awesome. Wow.
And take a pick. Which one you want to start with?
Well, now we were sort of fresh onto, because you want to do like the relationship stuff, the social stuff.
All of those good things.
But I think we're on the spiritual track. So I'm going to keep going down that vein
spiritual track
and fill you in. So
cool. Your spiritual journey.
Yeah, my spiritual journey. I mean, growing up conservative Christian home. Didn't really own it for myself, and was just sort of doing my own thing. Went to an Easter camp, and they were having during one of the services they had a lot of worship going on, and a friend and I said, "Oh, let's go up for a bit of a joke. It'll be quite fun." So we went up, and then I'll never forget what happened next. I experienced something which, to this day, I was 15 when it happened. I still remember it today, and something came upon me at that point, and I can only associate it to liquid love, just poured through my body, and this thing just said, "I'm real, I'm here, and I care."
Wow.
And that instant that love filled me, I was just filled with kind of like the meaning of life. I mean, to me, that holds out as probably the top experience of my life. I cannot compare anything to that incredible, loving, intimate feeling. And I spent that whole night just fully in song and worship and, just this closeness. I can only believe that it was my creator. Now,
you revived me. Did you have any story?
Yeah, I did twice.
You never told me that. Tell me.
No, I didn't, but go ahead.
No, because so we can all collaborate too. Because remember, I do want to ask you because we never really talked about anything that we benefited from our beginning religious journeys.
Right. I didn't for sure.
You didn't?
I don't like talking about it.
Oh yeah.
I don't
She doesn't
know.
like talking
I
about
do.
it. And I never asked you if you've gotten anything great. Did you get anything spiritual in that journey? But we'll talk about that later too.
Yeah. So following on from that, I really got what you call religious. And got heavily into the Bible and all of those things. And
what type of denomination?
So it was. You call it Baptist, I guess you call it. But I was very. I'm the sort of person that when I believe in something, I give it my 100% all. And then, I had a few speed bumps along the way, and a few things get me to maybe doubt aspects of the religion, and I count myself as spiritually open and spiritual, but not necessarily religious, and certain things made me to really go, wow, is it really like this? Should I really take the Bible like this? And I just saw so many, not contradictions, but seeming contradictions or ways that was hard to interpret the Bible and things like that.
Why is there killings in the world, or why did this have to happen, or some complicated questions that they don't have answers to?
Yeah, I mean, I could understand many things, like why is there war and violence? I could understand that from the idea of the original sin being the fact that without choice there is no love, and without love, what's the purpose of God creating humans with a free choice? If we can't have free choice, we can't express love. The only one thing that we could offer God was our obedience, our ability to choose something against Him or choose something for Him. And I believe that we gave His choice as our gift back to Him, because there's nothing else that we can offer Him. We can't offer Him gold because He created it all. We can't offer Him anything. We can only offer Him the gift of choice.
What were some of those things that made you kind of, did you say questions?
There's some questions, like I couldn't understand why there seemed to be this feeling, maybe it was my interpretation of it, of just kind of like a buzzkill, or like there were so many don'ts and not enough do's, and it felt like there was just a lot of kind of like trying to be good to sort of be good with God, and I didn't quite get that. It felt like there was a lot of things taken out that I felt we should be able to express and enjoy with a free mind and a clear conscience, and I felt like I didn't know whether that conscience was coming from God, coming from the Spirit, or coming from the community. So I had to, that's part of my individuation, was going, well, do I want to hold on to this or don't I?
Was it challenging? Did you feel, because I know that you can feel very conflicted for even having those thoughts. Like, oh, no. Like, you can't think those things, like you're deviating. Did you ever feel, because that's kind of built into the religion.
100%, but then I had to, but I believe that the religion, if it's of value, has to be robust enough to handle doubt, debate, criticism. It has to, you have to be able to challenge your faith. Because I believe it's strong, you're going to come back to it. And so then I just came through the point where I had to hold both. My experience with both realities. Like, yes, on one hand, I believe in a God, and I believe in a Creator, and I believe in something amazing out there that's beyond this life. But on the other hand, I don't exactly know what that is. And I'm not willing to tell someone else how to live when I myself aren't completely convinced that I should be living that for myself. So that's when I drew the line going, you know what? I just hold it both out. In my spiritual quest and journey, and go, I'm open, but I don't know for sure, and that's the way. And so that led me on to these other paths of being open to ayahuasca and DMT.
How did you discover those? Joe Rogan, or?
Not Joe
That's how
Rogan.
that's how I heard of it.
Mine was actually just more researching another guy, a British guy who had been on YouTube.
Ooh, his name's Graham Hancock.
No, a different
He's
guy.
a popular British.
No.
Could have been. Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name. But yeah, he'd gone right through the ritual and the cleansing and all that, right inside Peru and the Amazon, and completely got a rebirth, so to speak.
Might have been Dorian Yates.
Yeah.
Because
No,
he's
that's the
also
bodybuilder
British.
guy.
He's a
Yeah, no, not
bodybuilder.
that guy. But I met the guy that knew him in the Amazon.
no
Years
way.
ago. Yes, I met the guy that
Cool.
took us on
That
the
is
tours.
so good.
Yeah, so that was crazy.
So you heard it from a British guy.
Yeah, I just researching it, and then I looked at more and more stories about ayahuasca, and it became quite
What does that
intriguing.
Google search go for you? Because I don't think people know about psychedelics, and they think terrible. A lot of people think terrible things about them. So it's not like you get the idea like psychedelics. Like I didn't know they existed. For the longest
I
time.
heard that the reason why we taboo psychedelics because in the 60s, people were becoming more and more open-minded, and they were becoming more and more outside the system. We're coming back to that analogy.
Yeah.
Government didn't like it because they weren't going to have people to pay the taxes. People were going to get flower power, and they didn't like it, so they slammed it as illegal, forced people back into the mold, and then put a taboo on it.
That's exactly what happened.
You know? That's the idea behind it, anyway. But no, I think psilocybin, for example, is been shown as very restorative for people with mental illness and depression, and helping that. And I don't so much look at now what's evil and what's wrong. I look at what's beneficial for society. And when I look at a lot of what these drugs are doing, the psychedelics, they're actually producing very pro-social things and pro-transformative things for many people that use them. People that give up smoking for the rest of their life after they take ayahuasca, or experience DMT.
Yeah.
So I'm not convinced that you can just say taboo on everything, drug-wise.
Do you remember how you started that journey? How you attracted it to you?
Which part?
How you discovered it?
Ayahuasca, or
For me, it was Joe Rogan. For
Yeah.
you, it was probably me. But
Yeah,
you
it
hadn't
was-
heard before.
I had heard about it before, but I mean, from my upbringing, it was taboo.
I think
It
mine was just YouTube recommendations
Yeah.
somehow.
Thank you, the
I
algorithm.
Algorithm drew me
Oh
into it.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Watch this next.
This is interesting. Based on this, and this.
That's
The
true.
fact that you're interested in exploring Peru, the Machu Picchu,
Yeah.
and the Amazon,
Did you know-
might be interested in this. Okay, cool.
Okay.
But about that is YouTube is starting to ban a lot of things that have to do with
They hide it.
conspiracies. They're
Yeah.
hiding it because people are making things up, and that's why your speculation is always important. You have to do your own research. You have to double check things. You have to see other sources because people can create something that looks very real,
Yeah.
but they just made it up.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's why YouTube is on that. But I don't ever believe in stopping information. But then they'll create another YouTube or something.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually, and I'd given up on DMT for a while. I got back to New Zealand. I'd had my big OE, my bucket list. I'd done everything on my list, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty happy. The one thing I hadn't done was DMT, but you know what? I've done ayahuasca. It's enough. It was cool, but that's cool. And I'd just forgotten about it a while. And then I got into personal training, and I was training a guy back in Christchurch, New Zealand, and he found out that I was really interested in DMT. And he says, because I just transformed my body from 20% body fat to 5% body fat in 6 months, eating McDonald's, KFC, and my ice cream, because I wanted to prove that you could eat what you wanted and still get in the body of your dreams.
That's cool.
Right? So I've got before and afters of showing sort of my body shots along
That is so
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you're terrible on the inside, but you can lose the body fat.
Yeah, but it was to say that you could still have those weeks and not feel guilty about it and go back to eating well if you wanted, and you could still
Okay.
get the results. So
Okay.
it wasn't the be-all and end-all.
Hey, next trainer. Right.
Right.
So anyway, I was teaching him this, and then he suggested, well, I don't have the money to pay for you, but I do have access to DMT.
What?
Okay.
And I was like,
It's like, was I thinking about DMT yesterday? Because it just showed up right here.
so it's crazy how things work in life, right? So,
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That is still yet to happen to us. Like,
Okay.
so I decided to say, yeah, why not? Let's do this. I'll train you up for free. Well, not for free.
For the
In
exchange.
I'll
Yeah.
get this DMT,
Okay.
which could be far greater than money, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, they come into my sleep out. I lay on the bed. And this guy's like this modern day shaman. He's from England.
Okay.
Pulls out this needle,
Okay.
and he gives it a
Oh,
flick.
gosh.
Gets out this arm here.
it's like, you sure this is not heroin?
Finds one of these veins. I don't know if it was that vein or that vein. It's one of them. Goes to shoot it up, right? And then they leave the room, and then I just lie back and relax. And I'm thinking, oh, nothing's happened. It's fine. And then the next thing I know, I'm I'm starting to feel relaxed. Oh, this is weird. Then I start giggling and laughing. And it gets more and more, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I'm laughing a lot. And then I start to understand the chakras, right? So I'm going through the different stages of the chakras. And what?
Did you do that, or?
And this is where I believe what the Kundalini is. But there's a lot of research after this, such as Kundalini, which they think is a 3.5 coiled snake at the base of your spine that resides there, right?
I've heard of it. I don't really know what it is.
And the idea is when you do yoga, it rises up through your different chakras to the pinnacle, third eye, and then ultimately the seventh chakra. You are able to enter that enlightenment stage, right?
And people can do that with yoga.
Well, and that's the idea, is that you can do this. But DMT is like the shortcut. It goes instantly to it. But what I felt come through me was literally something came through my feet, through my legs, through my spine, and I was literally levitating on the bed. So if you could imagine, my feet were touching the bed and my whole body was arced.
Literally, or like you felt it?
Literally. I wish I just had a video or someone was there to see it, but I was in the air, something was holding me up in the air.
Wow, that's so crazy.
And then I pretty much went through, the different sequences of it. So I felt joy like I'd never felt. I felt this sense of just like laughter, just joy, happiness. It was a weird thing to feel, but it was just...
The liquid happiness? Or
different like that. I think liquid happiness was beyond another dimension, another realm. I think that, for me, that was directly with God, and that was something incredible. This was just it was different. It had a different color to it. It had a different feeling to it. Then it went to another level, and I felt love and connectedness. And this one was like, it sounds weird, but I could feel the universe breathe in time with me, and that was the special part. And then I could just start to see other beings, and then something came through me, and I could see. And I thought I was muscly, but I saw this creature just with these huge muscles around me, and that's when the trip literally turned. So I went from this incredible experience, and then I went to this other zone, and I went into this dungeon. And I felt like I was in there for an eternity. It was darkness, it was blackness, and
you felt like you were in there forever.
Teach me a lesson. And my brother had just died, a few months prior to that, at 40 of cancer.
Wow.
But it was like I could sense in some way I needed to say something to him. I didn't know whether he was there or not, but I felt like in that zone I was able to say something to him, to contact him.
In that dungeon area?
Yeah, just in that zone where I just felt a million miles away from anything, but you're in this other spiritual zone. It's a really hard thing to describe, but you realize at that point you're not just your physical body, you're this other person that's been living all the time. You're the spiritual being having this human experience, but it's so shut away from us because of the system that we never really identify with it. But anyway, and I felt like I needed to say something to him. And then I felt like constricted, and and finally I said, I love you. And when I said that, I just felt this huge, I don't know, was it me sighing or the spirit sighing or him sighing, but just a sigh, but it was and then the whole vision experience just like expanded into something else, and then I went into like this wisdom zone where I was just seeing, I thought I had insights, like what we're describing. These insights seemed nothing compared to what I was seeing getting downloaded at that point in my trip. I mean, I was seeing layer upon layer of insight and wisdom, which was beyond earthly. It was
different dimensions you're looking at.
Different dimensions, different zones, different colors, different things, It was just incredible, and different words had different meanings, and you just saw, wow, it was just mind-blowing. And so I saw wisdom for a while, and then this creature, whatever that sort of was coming through me, felt it like grabbed me by the throat, strung me on the bed like this. And this is where, I don't know whether it was my background in religious thinking or whether this actually happened, but at that point I heard a knock on the door, and my friend said, "Are you all right? Come in." And this thing at this stage was gripping my throat, and so, but it released it from me, and I was able to say, "No, it's all right. Don't come in." I said, "Don't come in." I'm going.
Were you making a lot of noise or something? Or?
I don't know what they could hear, but then it grabbed me, and I said, "If I could, I would." And then it showed me into this other dimension where I could be, and it said, "If I could, I'd rip you out of your body and I would take you down to the depths of this experience." And then I was calling on God. I was calling all things to
So you were afraid there?
At that point, yeah. I mean, this
was gripping you.
I was fighting for my life. I mean,
were you able to see that entity holding you?
I can show you a picture of what the entity looks like, and I can Google it, and I can show you what it looks like.
Is that because you've seen that image before?
No, I'd never seen it before, but I just, from my impressions, from what I could see in the arms.
Because I feel like if I see it, I'm gonna see that one too, and I'm gonna be scared.
But I couldn't see the face. I could only get the impression of it. But then hearing that, calling on God and having that experience just start to peter out was incredible. But post that, that's why I say be very mindful and careful of that, because I couldn't sleep properly for the next 3 months. I was woken up, with the smallest noise. I've got a fridge in my room, and when it made a noise, I would be jumping, So that's what I was saying, times that most of the magical feeling, and times by 100, by 10, but also fear to another whole level as well. So my greatest incredible experience got turned upside down by this experience.
But you said it was incredible, though. You said that, like, in a bad way?
Or
you said that you found out what happened afterwards.
It's just like the highs are intensified, but then the lows are intensified. So it's like the lowest of the lows. So it's like the highs of the highs and the lowest of the lows.
Did the lows teach you anything? Like, would you, if you could, you would take those out?
If I could, yeah. I mean, if it would just been that, I would have been signing up to do it again and again, just the highs,
Yeah,
But with that, you really think twice, because it affected my sleep. But in saying that, it affected me so much. I was so grateful to be alive. I just saw life at so many
So it almost
levels.
kind of like was killing you.
I feel like I've heard of people, they never return. From some people that do ayahuasca never return. But it's very uncommon.
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
It can happen. But I can understand how that happens, because you literally enter into another dimension, which I'm still saying to this day is more real than the dimension we're talking right now. Wow. You literally know that's really where you're supposed to be living.
I'm almost getting chills on that.
Yeah, so that was phenomenal and mind-blowing.
I want to linger on that one, though. I don't know why, but it seems like I'm feeling entertained by that scary image you just told us about being strangled. Can you tell us more in detail? Like, did you see that person? I'm kind of imagining a beast, like a demonic beast.
If you think of like Doom, something like that.
I'm not familiar with Doom.
Well, if you YouTube Doom, the game, you can see there's a certain beast.
You can show me later.
This thing is called a cyber demon. Look very similar to that.
Very scary.
But
it's fear that you. It's hard to describe the kind of fear. I can understand people being scared to death. I think it's a real thing. I know how people get scared to death.
Yeah, me too.
It was like horrifying.
Like phobias, like phobias. Like,
but at the same time, I had the sense, it was weird, because in one sense there was petrified, but in another sense I had this deep sense that even though I could feel the strength of this beast, I still, in a sense, deeper down felt safe, like I still had God.
Yeah, because you were calling on God.
Yeah, but without that, I can imagine you just...
Without having a positive entity.
Oh, okay.
If you're an atheist, what?
No, yeah, you said it better if you have a positive entity.
Because if you're atheist, what do you got?
Yeah. If you're atheist, you hopefully just part off on your mind and just say it's just mind tricks, but like...
science, this is not real.
Well, I think that's the whole point.
But this is one thing that does convert many atheists to agnostics, is going, a lot of them after doing these types of trips going, I believe there was nothing, and now I believe there's something.
There's something.
This is incredible. Why did you not let them come in the room?
I just felt in such a vulnerable position. This thing had me, man. I didn't want anything interrupting the experience.
You don't want to get them angrier?
I just felt I was in the experience still, and I didn't know what was going to happen next.
And you wanted to let it unfold.
Yeah.
So you never felt like pull the plug.
Oh, I did. I was calling on God. I just wanted the whole thing to stop. As soon as it went bad, I wanted everything just to stop. I'd do anything to get out of it, but I couldn't. Once you're in the trip,
you said it felt like forever? Did it?
During that dungeon time, I felt like I could be in there forever. Like, because time takes on a new dimension. Even though the whole trip's probably about 30 minutes, in that dimension, you're like, this could be eternity. It's like, because...
This could be, or did it feel that way?
No, part of it did, until I entered into what I needed to uncover in that session. So what I'm saying is, and this is totally speculation here, but this is some spiritual thinking around it. If you die in a certain state of emotion, a certain set of beliefs, you're potentially bound to exist within that for eternity. So if you die with bitterness and non-forgiveness and no love in your heart, you're potentially to live out that for eternity.
Unless you get reincarnated?
Well, I don't know about that. I'm not 100% on the beliefs around it, but there's something to that about being caught in a state forever. When you harden your heart enough to life, about the gifts that life gives you, when you harden it to the point where it's all about bitterness, then potentially I could see that could be the dark dungeon. It could be your reality for a very long time. And it felt despairing to be in.
And that's kind of your speculation after seeing that.
Well, for me, I think what the lesson that had, because I go, what is the lesson? I was trying to search for what is it they want me, because I felt like it'd be easy to shut your heart away from love because people have been hurt before and just stay there in this dungeon, and it's better for some people maybe think to stay in that place to not show their emotion with the world or not show love because they've been hurt. But I felt what I needed to say is I love you, and then I felt the sigh of relief happen. But I thought, how many people are going to be trapped forever in that dungeon of their own prison because they haven't learned to love?
Wow. So you're essentially, you told us that story, and we can infer the context of you might have had something there with your brother that subconsciously wasn't said, or maybe something that was felt. Or
well, I think the more I look at this, I look at DMT and God and everything, I think the key answer always seems to come back to love. I think the biggest lesson we can take out of life always comes back to the ability to love, to receive love and give love. That's what we're here for, I think, ultimately, when it boils down to that, right? But I think brother relationship, you're not thinking that, you're not feeling that, you're not necessarily giving that, you're just going about your life, and maybe there've been some things, unresolved issues. But
Is that what kind of happened?
But I believe that's what his spirit was wanting to hear from me, and that's what I needed to say to him.
Okay, so it didn't really come from you on your end. It was maybe that spirit kind of brought you there to set it free.
Well, I believe I needed it for myself as well. I needed to say that for something in me, but I just felt like that was something that needed to be said. And I don't know whether it's purely for me or for him, but that was just the experience that I had.
That's incredible. What do you think now?
Well,
about doing some psychedelics.
I don't know about DMT, but I can see. I need to research DMT. I'm not going to just do something because somebody tells me to do it.
It's just the most pure form, right?
Yeah, concentrated form.
That's the westernized version. Just shoot it straight up.
Oh.
It's a shortened trip, so it's 20 minutes intense. You'll be guaranteed to break through. More so than ayahuasca. Ayahuasca comes with the vomiting quite often, potentially
because
diarrhea.
It's very acidic, right?
Yeah, it's a poison you're putting in your body. You got to hold it down for it to have its effect, go into your bloodstream, and then spew it up because there's so many toxins, right?
They claim, the shamans say that that's you purging bad things, or do you think it's because it's toxic?
Well, I think literally it's a toxin, so your body is getting rid of it, but it breaks down into that chemical of the DMT, which, if held in your system long enough, will transfer into your bloodstream to give you the effect of DMT.
But do you know what I mean by, like, the shamans think that you're purging guilt, you're purging past hate, you're purging your subconscious traumas, you're purging that in the form of your excrement, that that's what they think is good, that it's good that you're purging it, or it's actually something that, maybe I could do away with the vomiting and the...
I believe you could have, because I think DMT is so powerful, I never saw the life the same after that. There's never been a day go by since that experience, which I haven't thought back to that experience. So I believe you could still have your transformative experiences without the purging.
Okay, so that's not really actually...
But that's my take on it.
I think so too.
But yeah, but I can see their take on it and why they see it, and that's fine. But I just believe you can still get an incredibly transformative experience without having to go through that ritual. But I saw that there's something special about being there and going through the ritual as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of like
having done
respecting it, the
being in
the
that
heights.
nature, that environment, you get some other vibe going on as well.
I gotcha.
But ultimately, it's the DMT that has the effect that gets you to have a mind change. Yeah.
Right.
And you said it's just vomiting and some diarrhea, you said?
Oh, not for me. Don't get any visuals there. But,
why are you asking these questions?
No, I'm
like,
myself.
you already know this.
But
I
say many people, report that. I definitely had the vomiting after 40 minutes, which is about the time. And then the hallucination set in after the vomiting. But yeah, often if it passes through your system enough, then you'll get the other end as well.
Interesting.
It's common to do it in different days. Start slow, and different days you up the dosage of the amount in the cup. I think I heard that's how they do it.
They train your body, so you got to be in a certain diet, a certain ritual. You do some
right.
fasting.
You did that
very clean diet. Yeah, I did the clean diet and minimal food and all that. And then they have the music, the shaman, and the preparation, and then they just they test you out.
Yeah.
They test you out.
Yeah, well, they just see how you go with that dose.
Yeah, because they don't want to give you too much.
They'll monitor you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So I'm still stung up.
Let's let it go. Let's let it go.
The demon, man. Because I've had a dream.
Okay.
Where when I was very religious on my spiritual journey, just towards the Bible and Christianity, there was times where I would see scary movies like The Exorcist and stuff like that, and I'm by myself at home, and then you're hearing things, and you're like you're praying, and that would calm you down. Yeah. Like the praying, like God, you're calling on God, and they would go away, or or that's what you would hold on to when you're afraid of the dark. That's what you hold on to when you're afraid of that demon that you're pretty much putting there with your own mind. And it's, for looking back now, obviously it was never there. And in my subconscious dream,
I have to disagree with that because
it could be there. You're right.
Yeah,
it could be there. You never negate things in the spiritual realm. You always leave that room for doubt. But I had a dream where it's a cold, dark exorcist setting, rainy night. There's a big, tall demon with the horns and the hooves and everything. And because I was, I guess, practicing the Christian religion at that time, I went up there and would, like I was a priest, and I defeated the demon in my dream. And it was very profound for me when I woke up from that dream, because I realized that common Christian saying is, if God's for me, who could be against me? Perfect love casts out all fear. A lot of those good Christian sayings. So that's why we still respect the Christian religion, because we think all religions are tools, just like a bow and arrow, a sword, a shield, a tool that is trying to help you hit the bullseye. Because if you don't use your own thinking, you can have some of the fanaticism that bring it down and make it look like, killing people in the name of religion and stuff like that. So you obviously use your reason with that, and you use the tool.
So why are you hung up on the demon? Because you relate to him?
Because if I face the demon again, I want to know.
Call on God, right?
You just call on God, and
well,
you felt
for me,
good.
when I called on the name of Christ, the whole thing changed. It stopped. Like, I felt like it was almost going to rip me out of my body. I was going to go.
And it said that if I could take you.
If I could, I would rip you out of your body now.
And take you where?
Take you.
Did you see where
I could only imagine it was
you?
the depths of hell. I could just see down into this portal, and it didn't look nice.
Right.
Let's just say that. And so I don't know if that's my background telling because of the belief of hell and demons, whether that's in my makeup, that's creating part of that vision and that image.
That's what I want to talk about next. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, and so this is the hairy part, whether this is a reality and it's there's a black and white, there's a spiritual realm, and that there are demons and there are all these
Angels
entities.
and demons.
Yeah, and there's this war going on, and there's a heaven and a hell, and
I wanted to talk about that. That's why I brought it up again, because why do you think that happened? Reflecting on it now, and go into detail about. Are you saying that you don't know if that's because I was taught demons and angels, and that's why I was there, and that was the most it'll like DMT will look in your mind. Oh, you hate spiders? I'm gonna get a spider and I'm gonna put it on top of you.
I think it's the point, right?
Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Or
So,
do you actually think that there is those demons?
Well, this is what I'm still grappling with even today, and I'm asking for guidance on, because I believe there's huge implications for life, right? What I end up following, what do I do? Because if I knew 100% that there was a black and white reality I wish to follow, then I'd devote my life to it, right? But because I'm like going, I don't know, I'm using my own reason and a bit of the Bible, and I'm going, I want to live my way, but at the same time, if God says that's wrong and this could be the result, then I definitely don't want to live that way, but I'm open to God on it. And that's the battle that I have, and I don't know whether DMT brings up from your own subconscious and it just relays and it projects out of your eyes and your subconscious what you believe to be true, or what you believe to have been taught, or what you've been taught, or whether you just, another world comes in and you're able to see out of this new third eye and you can see this world as it is.
Yeah.
And you're interacting with these beings at that level. I don't exactly know which one, but what I will say is the experience was so real, and I didn't feel I had control of what these entities were saying. It was grabbing my throat. It was moving my mouth. And subconsciously I could have been doing it, but I really feel like it was this other being that was saying the words, a different voice and everything, and I could hear it all. And I can't make that stuff up.
What words was it saying?
Oh, like I was saying, if I could, I would rip you out of your body. And
You said that in
it said out of my voice, but it was speaking through me. Like I was saying, this whole thing had taken over my body.
Oh my gosh.
So it was like having something else in your body, you and something else in your body. Closest to demon possession that you could think of, right?
Let me ask you now,